Hey guys, Pixel here, and welcome to my loot from 5000 Magister kill count. First of all, I'm going to start by saying you can check out the description below for timestamps, because this can be quite a lengthy video, so if you just are looking for any particular thing, like a profit per hour breakdown, or just the loot itself, you can check the timestamp below, skip to that part of the video, only watch that, and then hop out. So it'll be easier for you, you won't have to search through blabber, and you can just get to the meat of what you're looking for. So now, starting into the video, we will run through drop rates really quickly, the more important ones. Without luck of the dwarves, you have a 1 in 18 chance at obtaining a phylactery, 1 in 17 with luck of the dwarves. This is pretty important, and running through into vital sparks, 1 in 64 chance at 10 sparks and 20 sparks both. You have a 1 in 2000 chance at gloves of passage. That's about all the important stuff run through. All these opening phylacteries run down into about an average of 10 scraps per phylactery. So, ignoring all of that, if you kill him enough, each phylactery will be about 10 scraps. Running into the prices, copishes are staying stable at around 300 mil currently. Key to the crossing is 402k mid. I do assume some different prices for my calculations. So this has gone down just recently. Vital sparks are currently 136k mid. They have been hovering around 100k plus recently for the past few months. And gloves of passage have recently crashed a small bit, and I assume that they are about 30 mil in the video. So I'm just being very conservative there. If we start from the back, I have currently 5,133 kill count on metrics. I actually have something close to 5.3 thousand. I didn't have metrics for some of the time. The total value of the commons, which don't count in the weapons I made, is 653 mil. But that isn't entirely correct. So I'll run through why exactly later on. It'll be in a few minutes. So you have your soul fragments. Those are your pets. So I got one at 800 KC. I destroyed it, and I got my second one at I believe either 1.1k or 1.3k, and then I claimed that one, so I didn't faff about after that. You have your journals and you have your phylacteries. I got 317 and I got 19 ancient effigies. So ancient effigies are about seemingly 1 in 250. Then you have your phylacteries. That, if you work out how many I got per kill, it might be a bit off. That's because they got just changed after release while I was doing some of my kill count, so it won't necessarily seem all too accurate. As far as charms per kill, blue charms you expect to get about 2, and gold and green charms you expect to get 1.5 per kill around, and about 2.4 crimsons per kill. I used charming imp on all of these, so I didn't get any of them, because it messes with inventory management. It's pretty hard to kind of pick up all the drops when only one item disappears from your inventory, that item being the key, once per kill. Running into the slightly actually valuable things, a wheel start of rare drop table, so there's your start of rare drop table, and there's your continuation all the way up until U-logs. That is all rare drop table items. So he doesn't drop many things commonly from rare drop table, as you can see. Then you start to get into your loot. Dragon plate legs, funny enough, seem to be about 60% of the drop rate of a dragon plate skirt, so they're slightly less common, fun fact. Here are your lower kind of sources of money from commons, and then if you go onto the first page, there's your biggie. You have your vital sparks being by far your largest source of commons, with coins lagging behind quite substantially, and your next common lagging substantially behind that. So most of them are about 40 to 20 mil for 5,000 kill count, so they will add up. Your average loot seems to look like about 100k while you're killing him, but vital sparks hike that up considerably. Why that value there is incorrect is because of something that is to do with metrics. You have your average price. That average price averages out the price that an item was dropped at. Vital sparks for the longest time during a release were about 1 to 2k, so the average price of a spark drop was really low. So as you see, it's 71k instead of 100 or 130k, so that rips the price down. If Vital Sparks were 100k each on here, that value, 653 mil, would in fact be 722 mil. If they were 130k, that value would be 794 mil. So that's a 70 mil and 140 mil, relatively, missing off that value price. So that's a lot. At current G prices, that would be 800 mil. So it's slightly deceiving. And one thing that does not count in is the value of the copishes. So as I said, you have your phylacteries. I had 317 of them. I'd expect 3,170 scrap drops out of those. My actual amount of scraps I got was 3,075. So that's 10 weapons and a good chunk of the way towards my 11th. And the profit from that was about 1.5 to 2 bill. So you have that there. As you can see, I got 0 Gloves of Passage. The average amount I would in fact expect is 1.5, which would total to 75 mil, assuming they were 30 mil. So that total value would potentially go up even further. Evil Lucario, on the other hand, got 4 drops of the gloves in 120 kill count. It's really RNG dependent. You should never really expect to get a glove drop, but be really happy if you do. So, just going to run through some of the actual details on things. Here are your kind of expected scraps, assuming you get 313 phylacteries. So 5 scraps would generate this many, 10 scrap drops would generate this many, so on, so on, so on. It's not all too relevant, but that comes down to about 10 scraps per phylactery. So my expected scraps would be, as I mentioned, 3,170. I'm 95 scraps short. So, bit unlucky on RNG there. My expected spark drops would in fact be 2,410 instead. So I'm also a bit short on Vital Sparks, and I'm heavily short on Gloves of Passage. So you can say I am just very unlucky on this boss. As far as going into analysis of profit per hour, you have your phylacteries here. So with Luck of the Dwarves, 1 in 17 drop rate. Without, it's 1 in 18 drop rate. And the amount of KC per Kopesh is listed here. So with Luck of the Dwarves, 510. Without Luck of the Dwarves, 540. How that's worked out is if you get 10 scraps per phylactery on average, then you'd need 30 phylacteries per a full weapon, and you multiply 30 by the drop rate. So you get 30 kill count less if you're wearing Luck of the Dwarves. That's why I believe it is important. So running into likely average common drop values. So over 5,000 kill count, so a large sample, your average common will be expected to be 140k GP if Vital Sparks are 100k each. If Vital Sparks are 130k each, so more current, you expect 155k GP. As you can see, for each if a Vital Spark goes up 1 GP, your average likely common goes up 1 GP. So if Vital Sparks shot up to 1 mil, your likely average common drop would shoot up 500k. That's why they are so important. And if we look at including Gloves of Passage, that once again goes up by 15k, assuming Gloves of Passage are 13 mil. So it's about the same kind of change in likely common average drop. There's a reason I did that, and that's just for making things easier. But if we just scroll this along, we can look at the profit you can expect from a single Kopesh made, and that is without Luck of the Dwarves and with Luck of the Dwarves. So you want to work that out yourself, because prices from a video are very unlikely to be current, especially a few years or months from now. So this is just your formula for working it out. You take your key price, take away your average common drop, so this is your loss per kill, and you multiply that by the amount of kills you expect to require for a Kopesh made, and you take that away from your Kopesh price. So you have Kopesh price minus your loss per Kopesh, and with this, and then you have your Luck of Dwarves. It's a slightly different one because you require less kills. This Now, these numbers assume something, and they assume that a copish is 300 mil, and your key price is 395k, and they assume that your likely average commons are 140k. So, without Luck of the Dwarves, you'd make a profit of 162 mil, and with Luck of the Dwarves, you'd make a profit of 170 mil. So that's a 7 to 8 mil discrepancy. That's why Luck of the Dwarves is very relevant. Another thing being that less kill count is required, so it will take you less time. So it's even more GP per hour. Now, hourly profit. How do we work that out? So you take just how long it would take to kill you the amount required for a Kopesh, and that will give you the amount of hours it takes. Then you take your profit expected per Kopesh, and you divide it by that. It's simple. So you take the amount of kills you expect to require, you divide it by your hourly kill rate, you get your number of hours, you take your profit, and you divide it by your hours taken. Very simple. I'm just running that through for people who may not want to think about things themselves. It's just, you can just plug things in, and it's very easy to work out a current kind of profit per hour. As far as profit per hour at different kill rates, these both include Luck of the Dwarf and non-Luck of the Dwarf numbers. So I'll start with a really low kill per hour, 40 kills per hour. So that is probably about as low as you're going to expect, assuming you're mid to high level kind of PVMing consistently. So you should expect at least 10 mil per hour as your kind of baseline. Magister shouldn't really be worse than that, assuming you have pretty good gear. So I won't babble through all the other kill rates until later, because you can just look at them, you can pause the video, you can read it yourself. I'll explain kind of how you can expect those kill per hour numbers soon after, because currently they're just numbers. So they don't tell you much apart from, if you get this many kills per hour, you can probably expect this GP per hour. So running down through into your variance in your likely average commons, assuming that you get 155k average commons, so Vital Sparks being more current, or you include the glove rate, and you use the 140k, then your GP per hour goes up by 16k multiplied by your kill rate. So to explain that, if you're getting 60 kills per hour and you're counting gloves, or your commons being 155k, you get 16 times 60k more GP per hour. And then, assuming that you get 155k commons and your glove rate, that doubles in effect. So that's why that's at 13 mil. It's just a really easy number to work with. So running into how that affects GP per hour, at 60 kills per hour, it adds 1 mil GP per hour, and at respectively, so top one adds 1 mil GP per hour, and bottom one adds 2 mil GP per hour. So that number would skip from 19, or rather 20 mil to 21 mil, and that number would skip from 18 to 19 mil per hour. And if you include gloves and better commons, then it's just under 22 and just under 20 mil per hour. So Luck of the Dwarves tends to add about 1.5 to 2.5 mil per hour at any given time. So it is really worth using if you're going to be doing Magister long term. As far as the actual impact Luck of the Dwarves has on GP per hour, it is currently 10.87%, roughly. So adding in overtime variance, because if common prices change, if Vital Spark prices change, that GP per hour effect is going to change as well. So it's roughly about 10% as it stands. I don't see that changing much in the short term, but it is currently very worth using, and I don't see it not ever being worth using at Magister, because of the massive effect that has on phylactery drop rates. It's over 5%. Just quickly running through the kills per hour and how you can expect them. So you have your 40 kills per hour, and that's kind of having your max skilled with a yak, and you've got really bad kind of gear, you don't have an invention or something like that, or you're pretty good at PVM, you have decent gear but you don't have max skilled, so you don't have max skilled portal. So it extends your backing time considerably, and you are forced to use a yak over a nihil, something like that. 45 kills per hour is more or less the same story, you're just a bit better. 50 kills per hour, So that's when you're looking to have a max guild, and you don't have the best kind of gear, stats, everything like that, but you are pretty decent at PVM. At 55 kills per hour, you're looking at being good at PVM. You have your tier 90 weapons, you have your tier 80 augmented Virtus, Pernix, whatever, and you've got max guild, you're using a Nihil, Reaper necklace, something like that. 60 kills per hour is about the limit you'll hit for ranged, and 55 to 60 kills per hour is about the limit you'll hit from melee. So 60 kills per hour, you're looking at just essentially current best in slot gear. So Serengol Bow, Desolation, you know, tier 92, tier 99. So with melee, you'd be looking at Zaros Godsword for the spec switch. You'd want to be maining Scythe instead, in fact. And you'd want your so yeah, Quake would be a good debuff, but once again, you'd be looking at about 55 to 60 kills per hour. The reason you want Scythe is if you're in melee distance, if you're within one tile of Magister, every 3 attacks, so when he's doing a special attack, he can stun you and run away, and that's really bloody annoying, and it hits pretty hard, and you can't avoid it. The only thing you can do is anticipate, as far as I'm aware, so he doesn't stun you, but you're still wasting an ability to just not get stunned. So you'd want to use a Scythe, get out of range. Magic can climb up to about 60 kills per hour, but the one thing is Magic is really strong right now. You won't need your Staff of Sliske or Malevolence to get 60 kills per hour. You can manage that without 4-ticking and with Nox Staff and things like that. So the things you will really need at around 60 kills per hour is good perks. So Impatient 3, Crackling 3, Biting 2 or Biting 3, and the other perk doesn't matter too much. You will need Weapon Poison. Magister is not immune to Weapon Poison, so it is a big boon to your DPS. Dreadnips help if you're struggling to keep up with hit points, because Magister is not stun immune either. You can use stuns very well at Magister in many different situations. They really do help out, and the better you are at the combat system, the much easier you will find the fight, the easier you'll find yourself camping Nihil. So Nihil is a very important thing to have at 55 to 60 kills per hour, otherwise you'll be struggling to find that you're getting those kill rates. The one thing that's pretty much essential is Berserker auras, and that's Reckless, Maniacal, and Berserker. So those will get you pretty much 100% accuracy if you've got a Nihil and Reaper necklace on. So you won't really need anything better than that for accuracy, but tier 4 auras, you'll start splashing a bit. You might look at 50 to 55 kills per hour. So currently Berserker auras are really bloody powerful. So that sums that up. As far as 65 kills per hour, you might be thinking, that's ridiculously high. Well, being honest, only Magic will really hit that at the moment. So that would be with your Staff of Sliske and Affliction. So your tier 92, tier 99, you're forcing auto attacks. You might be doing a bit of 4-ticking, but you can reach it just about by the skin of your teeth without 4-ticking if you're lucky and you're really sweaty. 70 kills per hour to 75 kills per hour, you're looking at having to 4-tick auto attack or continuously 4-tick auto attack. It is really ridiculous. It's really difficult. If you're a mid-level PVMer or entry high level, you're not going to be hitting 70 kills per hour, not even close. So Evil Lucario has a video on his YouTube channel where he gets 70 kills per hour with Magic. You can see how he does that there. As far as if you're not sure what 4-tick auto attacking is, there's a lot of things on Reddit, YouTube, things like that. You can look it up. There are a lot of actions to perform, and it's only a slight boon. So for a lot of people, it might not be worth it. But if you're really struggling to find things to do with your time, then you can just learn 4-tick auto attacking, and it's a very powerful DPS tool. So that sums that up. I myself have an instant post nerf video with ranged, and I get 54 kills per hour. I have hit up to 60 kills per hour with ranged. So the reason I only got 54 kills per hour in that video was simply because I didn't have min-maxed gear for Magister. I used my previous setup, which was good before he got nerfed. But after he got nerfed, Bandos' book was no longer as good, things like that. So my gear wasn't the best, so I only got 54 kills per hour. But nonetheless, it is very achievable. It's not that difficult, assuming you have just good gear. So you can watch those two videos to have kind of a look about how the difference between 55 and 70 kills per hour. Then you'd have your 40 kills per hour between 55 kills per hour. You'd kind of expect the same difference. So that gives you a rough idea of what you'd expect to need to be doing for those kills per hour, respectively. As far as Magister, you'll expect him to be about 15 to 25 mil per hour at any given time. So he is very profitable for a relatively easy boss. The one thing that will really choke your kills per hour is minion spawns. If you are getting minion spawns, you're gonna be wasting a lot of food during a trip, and it will be pretty hellish. They spawn at about 1 minute to 1 minute 30 seconds in to the fight. So there are a lot of things about Magister that many people might not notice that will get a lot more kills per hour. I can make a guide on it if you guys want. So if you'd like me to, you can comment in the comment section below. Other than that, if you have any kind of different questions or anything like that, or any advice, or want to know something more, then you can once again ask in the comments below. I'll have a read through them as they come in. As I said, I am very free to making a guide, but I currently don't have any editing software, so that probably won't be in the near future. If you wanted one, you could expect one somewhere a few months from now. So I hope you enjoyed the video. You have a rough idea about what's going on and how much profit you can expect to make. It is very profitable. I would recommend the boss if you have good gear. But if you're doing bad DPS, it is a very DPS oriented boss. You'll find it a struggle, and you'll be better off killing something else because it'll be very frustrating otherwise. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.